Happy Friday. Lily Heisey joining us this morning. She's an author and a travel expert, especially when it comes to romantic travel. This is her most recent book, and you have two and possibly one on the way. Thank you for joining us on Breakfast Television.
Well, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
I want to get to in a moment what you're doing in British Columbia, which is kind of exciting. But first, can you tell us your 5 tips on how to plan a romantic vacation? Sometimes we think of it as an afterthought or maybe just a little day trip as part of a vacation, but how can we make it more all-encompassing about the love?
Oh, sure. Well, I think almost any destination can be romantic. It just depends on how you organize it. And so I think it's very important to incorporate some kind of surprise. And it isn't surprising that a lot of people do plan surprise romantic trips for their partner. And so it doesn't have to be the whole trip. It could be maybe having a bottle of champagne, waiting when you arrive at the hotel, organizing a dinner that you are sure they would like, or even perhaps doing a tour or activity that could be wine tasting in South Africa, or it could be a baking class somewhere. And so just those little tiny surprises will accentuate the trip. And I also think then it's important to choose where you stay carefully. It doesn't have to be a 5-star luxury hotel, but somewhere that's a little special, or even an apartment,
a little
rental.
boutique hotel.
Boutique hotels are my favorite. Heritage hotels, I've stayed in a number around the world, and that really creates the setting, because once you're in that mood, that helps the whole trip become romantic too.
So that's the tip number 2, and I do want to ask a question about that before we move on. Are bed and breakfasts a good place for romance? Because I always imagine if you've got, you know, Diane cooking you breakfast and her bedroom's right there, maybe it's not the best place for romance?
Then maybe not. I generally do not recommend bed and breakfast. Instead, a small hotel will often be around the same price, or an apartment rental, and that also will allow you to have an authentic neighborhood experience. And that's another tip I like to give too, is kind of connecting with the locals. And so that's something that I feel can enhance any sort of trip, but especially a romantic trip.
Great. So what was your third tip on how to plan a romantic?
My third trip is to escape the crowds.
Yes.
Because we were just talking about London just now, and I live in Paris, and Paris, you know, around most of the major monuments, there are hordes of people. You can enjoy almost any destination away from those tourist masses. And so this is a way that you can go find quiet gardens, narrow streets, and that will create a wonderful romantic setting. And so that you're cherishing the moment with your partner instead of being surrounded by selfie sticks and masses of tourists. So I think that's really important, and that does create, again, that nice romantic ambiance.
4th tip?
So that was doing something the locals do, having a really authentic experience. And I think that those create special holiday memories, and that's what you want when you go on holiday. Of course, sometimes you just want to relax, but if you're going on a romantic trip, you want to have those lifetime memories that you'll create together. Go to a traditional pub in London, a fish fry in the Caribbean, wander the markets in Bangkok, and those things are really special and
very inspiring ideas. What's the 5th one?
So the 5th one is to do a special meal. That could be a nice lunch, a nice dinner, or go out for a nice drink with a beautiful view. And again, those are creating wonderful memories. It could be something very economical. It could be a little trattoria on a tiny street in Rome where you'll have the best pasta of your life, and you'll always remember that with your partner.
How about right here in BC? I know you're here researching for your next book. Where's, if you could just really quickly say, maybe the #1 spot if someone wanted to keep their romantic trip local?
Well, I was just up in Tofino last weekend, and I like local tips, and I had a local tip to try the Tonquin Trail.
Ooh.
And so you can go to the Pacific Rim Park with all of the other tourists, or here it's a nice forest walk and you discover hidden beaches.
Well,
so
thank you
really
so
lovely.
much for these beautiful tips. You've got a great job. All the best on your new book. And here again is April Heisey. April Heisey, her most recent book. And all the best with that, and enjoy the rest of our province.